Picture this. A man walks into a room, says nothing, yet every head turns. His silence screams louder than any shout, his presence heavier than any title. He doesn't chase approval, yet people crave his respect. That's the Sigma male, and he's the enigma you can't ignore. Welcome to the Sigma male community, where we forge men of iron will, unshakable resolve, and razor-sharp clarity. Today we're diving into what makes a Sigma truly terrifying, not the myths, not the stereotypes, but the raw, stoic truth that shakes the world to its core. If you're ready to unlock the mindset that sets you apart, stick with us. This is about mastering yourself, defying the noise, and embracing the power within. Let's get started. 1. Silence isn't weakness, it's a weaponized strategy. In a world drowning in chatter, silence is a blade. Most men scramble to fill every pause with words, desperate to prove their worth, but the Sigma stands unmoved. His quiet isn't empty, it's a calculated force, a psychological weapon that unnerves the insecure. Research from the University of California shows that those who speak less are seen as more powerful, their restraint a mirror reflecting others' fears and doubts. While betas beg for validation and alphas flex dominance, the Sigma's silence is a chess move, forcing others to overthink, overreach, and unravel. It's not about having nothing to say, it's about knowing words are often a trap. This isn't passivity, it's precision. A Sigma's silence is like a predator's pause before the strike, deliberate, focused, lethal. His body language speaks volumes, a steady gaze that pierces facades, a posture that radiates unshaken confidence. In a culture addicted to oversharing, where every thought is vomited online, the Sigma's refusal to perform is a rebellion. He doesn't explain his choices or justify his path. That restraint terrifies those who need applause to feel alive, because it exposes their fragility. Consider the boardroom where egos clash and voices compete. The Sigma sits, observes, and waits. When he finally speaks, it's not to fill the air but to cut through it. His words land like a guillotine, precise and final, because he spent the silence sharpening his thoughts. Stoicism teaches us to master the impulse to react, to let reason guide our voice. For the Sigma, silence isn't just control, it's dominance. And here's the real power. Silence creates mystery. People project their fears, desires, and assumptions onto the quiet man, filling the void with their own chaos. The Sigma knows this and uses it. He doesn't need to shout to be heard. His presence alone demands attention. That's the weapon, control over the room without saying a word. If you've ever felt the weight of a silent stare, you know why this scares the world. 2. Rules are illusions, Sigmas operate beyond them. Society hands you a script. Go to school, chase the corner office, beg for approval. The Sigma tears it to shreds. He doesn't just break rules, he rewrites the game entirely. Psychologists call this cognitive nonconformity, a trait tied to revolutionary thinking and genius-level creativity. Where others see structure as safety, the Sigma sees a cage and he's already picked the lock. His independence isn't defiance for defiance's sake. It's a higher state of being, a refusal to bow to systems built to leash potential. Think of the trailblazers who reshaped history. Nikola Tesla didn't wait for funding to dream up alternating current. Steve Jobs didn't survey focus groups before unveiling the iPhone. These men saw rules as suggestions, not chains. The Sigma operates the same way, guided by an inner compass of reason and purpose. Stoicism reminds us that true freedom lies in aligning with our own principles, not the crowd's demands. To the Sigma, obedience is just another word for surrender. This mindset unnerves the world because it exposes the fragility of systems. Governments, corporations, even social norms rely on compliance to function. A man who answers only to himself is a walking threat to that order. He doesn't need permission to act, approval to create, or a title to lead. His sovereignty is his rebellion, and it's why every institution fears the man who can't be bought or broken. But this isn't chaos, it's clarity. The Sigma's ability to see through the illusion of rules comes from a stoic commitment to truth over comfort. He asks, why follow blindly when I can forge my own path? That question alone is enough to make the world tremble, because it challenges the very foundation of control. If you've ever felt the urge to walk away from the script, you're already halfway to Sigma. 3. The Sigma stare, seeing through souls like X-ray vision. Most men wear masks, carefully curated personas to hide their doubts, fears, or lies. The Sigma's gaze cuts through them like a blade through paper. His perception is surgical, honed by a stoic discipline that values truth over flattery. Studies on emotional intelligence show that individuals like Sigmas can read micro-expressions, detect lies, and sense hidden motives before a single word is spoken. That's why people squirm under their stare. It's like being stripped bare, every flaw exposed. This isn't about cruelty or judgment, it's about discernment. The Sigma doesn't waste energy on shallow connections or empty small talk. He engages only with what's authentic, filtering out the noise with ruthless precision. In a world where deception is currency, fake smiles, fake promises, fake loyalty, the Sigma's clarity is a weapon. He sees the truth you're trying to hide, and that vulnerability is terrifying to those who rely on facades. Picture a conversation where someone's spinning a story, their words polished but their eyes nervous. The Sigma doesn't nod along or play the game. His silence, paired with that piercing stare, forces the liar to unravel. Stoicism teaches us to seek the truth within and without, to strip away illusions with reason. The Sigma embodies this, turning his perception into a tool that dismantles pretense and exposes reality. And that's what makes the Sigma stare so unsettling. It's not just observation, it's revelation. People fear being seen, truly seen, because it leaves nowhere to hide. If you've ever locked eyes with someone who seemed to know your soul, you've felt the Sigma's power. It's not magic, it's the stoic art of seeing clearly in a world blindfolded by lies. For freedom is their addiction, and most can't handle the withdrawal. The average man trades his freedom daily for scraps of comfort. A steady paycheck, a toxic relationship, a pat on the back. The Sigma would rather burn than bend. Psychologists call this autonomy drive, a rare trait that fuels men who refuse to trade their soul for security. For the Sigma, freedom isn't a luxury, it's oxygen. He doesn't just reject chains, he never felt their weight to begin with. This isn't impulsiveness but a calculated choice. Freedom comes with a price. No safety nets, no guarantees, no applause. Most men crumble under that uncertainty, clinging to the familiar even when it suffocates them. The Sigma thrives in the void, his stoic resilience turning isolation into opportunity. He's the lone wolf who'd rather hunt in the wild than beg for scraps in a cage. That raw independence terrifies those who can't imagine life without a leash. Consider the man who walks away from a soul-crushing job, not because he's reckless, but because he values his time more than a paycheck. The Sigma knows that true wealth isn't money, it's control over your own destiny. Stoicism teaches us to embrace what we can control and release what we can't. For the Sigma, this means crafting a life where no one else holds the reins. That's what makes the Sigma's addiction to freedom so scary. It's not just that he's free, it's that he makes it look effortless. While others cling to their chains, terrified of the unknown, the Sigma strides into it, head high, heart steady. If you've ever felt the pull to break free but hesitated, the Sigma's life is a challenge. Stop waiting, start walking. 5. Solitude is their sanctuary, not their prison. The world sees solitude as a punishment, a void to be filled with noise and distraction. For the Sigma, it's a fortress of strength. You're watching this on the Sigma male community because you know what it's like to feel alive in your own company, to find clarity where others find fear. Solitude isn't loneliness, it's the crucible where the Sigma forges his mind, hones his purpose, and sharpens his edge. Neuroscience backs this up. Solitude boosts creativity, enhances focus, and builds mental toughness. History's greatest minds, Da Vinci, Thoreau, Tesla, embraced it, knowing that true insight doesn't come from crowds but from silence. The Sigma doesn't just tolerate being alone. He seeks it because it's where he meets his truest self. In a world obsessed with connection, this deliberate detachment is a radical act of self-mastery. But this isn't about shutting out the world, it's about choosing when to engage. The Sigma's solitude is strategic, a space to reflect, plan, and recharge. Stoicism teaches us to find peace within, to let external chaos fade while we cultivate inner strength. For the Sigma, every moment alone is a chance to align his actions with his values, to strip away the world's noise and hear his own voice. And that's why solitude scares others. Most people need constant validation to feel whole, likes, followers, applause. The Sigma finds wholeness in himself, and that self-sufficiency is a threat to a culture built on dependence. If you've ever felt stronger alone than in a crowd, you're not broken, you're Sigma. Embrace that sanctuary because it's where your power grows. 6. The art of being alone, and loving it. Loneliness is a ghost that haunts most men, driving them to chase shallow connections just to feel something. The Sigma turns that ghost into an ally. Neuroscience shows that solitude sharpens the mind, sparking creativity and resilience that crowds can never match. Think of Einstein puzzling over relativity in quiet hours, or Nietzsche crafting philosophy in alpine isolation. For the Sigma, being alone isn't a burden, it's a privilege. This isn't about hating people, it's about loving your own company. The Sigma doesn't just survive solitude, he thrives in it, finding joy in the space others fear. While the world scrambles for Friday night plans, he's content with a book, a thought, or a purpose. This isn't antisocial, it's a stoic choice to prioritize depth over distraction, to recharge in silence rather than burn out in noise. The power of this mindset lies in its defiance. Society tells us we're incomplete without a crowd, that loneliness is failure. The Sigma laughs at that lie. He knows that mastering solitude means mastering yourself. Stoicism teaches us to find contentment in what we control, our thoughts, our time, our peace. The Sigma lives this, turning every quiet moment into a chance to grow stronger, sharper, wiser. And that's what makes this art so dangerous. A man who loves his own company can't be manipulated by social pressure. He doesn't need your approval, your likes, or your presence to feel whole. In a world terrified of being alone, the Sigma's joy in solitude is a rebellion that shakes the status quo to its core. 7. They don't need permission, they take what's theirs. Most men wait for a green light, a promotion, a nod, a "you're good enough." The Sigma doesn't ask, he acts. Research shows self-sufficient people have higher dopamine levels, wired to reward their own initiative without needing external validation. This isn't arrogance, it's a stoic refusal to let others dictate your worth. The Sigma knows, if you're waiting for permission, you're already playing someone else's game. Look at history's disruptors. Elon Musk didn't beg NASA for a seat at the table, he built SpaceX and took it. Kobe Bryant didn't wait for coaches to crown him, he demanded greatness from himself. These men shared a Sigma trait, operational independence. They saw their goal, claimed their path, and burned every gate in their way. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what's in our control, our actions, our will, and the Sigma embodies this with every step. This mindset terrifies the world because it bypasses the gatekeepers. Systems, corporations, governments, social hierarchies rely on people waiting their turn. The Sigma doesn't. He creates, builds, and conquers on his terms, leaving the rule followers scrambling to keep up. His confidence isn't loud, it's lethal, rooted in the certainty that his destiny is his to shape. And that's the lesson for you. Stop waiting for the world to hand you what's yours. The Sigma's power lies in his ability to act without apology, to carve his path with stoic clarity. If you've ever felt the urge to seize control of your life, that's the Sigma spark. Fan it into a flame and watch the world step aside. Mystery is their magnetism. Humans crave patterns, predictability, certainty. The Sigma is a puzzle they can't solve. His unpredictability isn't reckless, it's a controlled enigma, a deliberate choice to keep others guessing. Studies show mystery boosts attraction by 300%, as the brain obsesses over what it can't pin down. The Sigma wields this like a weapon, revealing just enough to intrigue, never enough to be fully known. This isn't about playing games, it's about power. Most people overshare, spilling their lives for validation. The Sigma holds back, letting silence and subtlety do the work. His stoic restraint creates a gravitational pull. People lean in, desperate to understand, to connect. That's magnetism, not shouting who you are but letting others chase the answer. Think of the man at the party who says little but draws every eye. He doesn't boast or beg for attention, his presence alone commands it. Stoicism teaches us to guard our inner world, to let actions speak louder than words. The Sigma lives this, turning mystery into a force that makes him unforgettable. You can't shake what you can't define, and that's why the world can't let him go. The scariest part? This magnetism isn't an act. It's the natural byproduct of a man who knows himself, who doesn't need to perform for approval. If you've ever been drawn to someone who seemed just out of reach, you felt the Sigma's pull. Embrace that mystery in yourself, it's not a flaw, it's your edge. 9. They're not antisocial, they're selective. The Sigma doesn't hate people, he hates noise. His circle isn't small, it's forged in steel, built on trust and depth rather than convenience. Every connection is a choice, not a default. This isn't elitism, it's a stoic commitment to quality over quantity, to conserving energy for what matters. While others collect shallow acquaintances like trophies, the Sigma seeks allies who'd stand with him in a storm. This selectivity comes from clarity. The Sigma knows his time, energy and loyalty are finite, and he guards them fiercely. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what aligns with our purpose, to cut away what doesn't serve us. For the Sigma, this means choosing relationships that challenge, inspire, and endure, not ones that drain or distract. In a world of fake smiles and fleeting connections, this approach is revolutionary. Social media sells the lie that more friends equals more value, but the Sigma sees through it. He'd rather have one brother who'd bleed for him than 100 followers who'd scatter at the first sign of trouble. That deliberate choice unnerves people. It exposes how hollow their networks are. And that's the power of selectivity. The Sigma's small circle isn't a weakness, it's a fortress. If you've ever walked away from a shallow crowd to find your own path, you're tapping into that strength. Build your circle with intention, and you'll find a loyalty the world can't break. 10. They weaponize time, patience is their fury. The world worships instant gratification, likes, swipes, quick wins. The Sigma plays a different game, one measured in years, not seconds. Psychologists call this delayed gratification, a trait linked to elite success across fields. Like a lion stalking its prey, the Sigma knows timing is everything, and he's willing to wait for the perfect strike. This isn't passivity, it's power. Most men quit when results don't come fast, chasing shortcuts that lead to dead ends. The Sigma builds, brick by brick, knowing true victories take time. His patience is a coiled spring, a stoic discipline that turns waiting into a weapon. When he moves, it's with the force of years of preparation behind him. Think of the entrepreneur who grinds for a decade before his vision clicks, or the artist who refines his craft in obscurity until the world takes notice. The Sigma's strength lies in his ability to endure, to trust his process over the world's noise. Stoicism teaches us to embrace the long game, to find peace in persistence. For the Sigma, time isn't an enemy, it's an ally. And that's what makes this trait so terrifying. In a culture addicted to speed, the Sigma's patience is a rebellion. He doesn't just outlast his competition. He outthinks them, outworks them, and outlives their impatience. If you've ever held fast to a goal while others gave up, you know this power. Wield it and the world will bend. 11. The final truth. Sigmas don't want followers, they want equals. Here's the secret that sets Sigmas apart. They don't crave worship or followers. They seek equals, men and women who match their fire, their vision, their unbreakable will. The Sigma isn't a loner by choice. He's a leader waiting for those rare few who can keep up. Until then he walks alone, not because he's arrogant, but because he refuses to dilute his standards. This refusal is what makes him terrifying. In a world begging for compromise, where people lower their bars to fit in, the Sigma stands firm. His stoic commitment to excellence means he'd rather have no one than settle for less. He doesn't need a crowd to feel complete, he's already whole. That self-sufficiency shakes the foundation of a society built on conformity. Think of the warrior who fights not for glory but for a cause, seeking only those who share his resolve. The Sigma's life is that battle, and his allies are chosen with the same precision. Stoicism teaches us to live by our principles, to seek virtue over popularity. The Sigma embodies this, building a life that challenges others to rise or step aside. And that's the scariest thing about a Sigma. His refusal to bend. He's not here to lead sheep or collect fans. He's here to forge a brotherhood of warriors. If you've ever felt like you're waiting for people who truly get you, that's the Sigma spark. Hold fast to it because it's the foundation of a life unstoppable. This is the Sigma male community, and today we've peeled back the layers of what makes a Sigma truly terrifying, not the myths but the mindset. You've seen how silence becomes a weapon, how freedom becomes an addiction, how patience becomes fury. These aren't just traits, they're a call to rise above the noise, to forge your path with stoic clarity and unrelenting will. If this resonates, if you felt that spark of independence burning inside, don't let it fade. Drop a comment below, share your story, your struggle, your strength. Let's build this community of iron-willed men together. Hit that like button to spread the word, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, And if you're subscribed, turn on notifications so you never miss the wisdom we're dropping. The Sigma life isn't a trend, it's a revolution. Step into it, own it, and let's keep pushing toward excellence. We'll see you in the next one.